An
What do you
actual
know? Gaming
direct?
content. Gaming content. And with Nintendo, no less.
It's been 500 days since a real direct. It seems like.
Yeah. I will say that before we begin, I want to give my rating for this direct at the start. I give it a B. I I don't believe it was bad. I think it gave us exactly what we would expect from a direct. And Nintendo fans are just a bunch of bitches.
Oh yeah. So this is going to be like 50% talking about the direct and 50% talking about the salty fans on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else because holy
So
fuck, you're all
I will say though,
entitled.
like the info dump we got for the games are actually pretty good. Like we got a lot of. I feel like what I keep telling David is I think like what Nintendo's doing is trying to turn their like switch into like an RPG sim emulator,
Oh yeah.
and I'm okay with because like most of the shit they showed were RPGs from Square and whatnot, and I will say as someone who's mostly uses his Switch for like RPGs, like I have like mostly RPGs on my shit, like a few of the games, and then like I'll use it for like first party shit like Mario games and it's Kirby or whatever. But like I mostly use my Switch for RPGs. So seeing like Legend of Mana remaster, then a new Square tactical RPG game, and all
From the
that shit.
studio that did Octopath. From the studio that did Octopath. So that makes me the big happy.
Yeah, and
uh,
Brave Default too. We got more information on that, which is great.
that's one that I didn't catch because I was listening and watching it at work. So I'm just like, I hiding this my phone in the fucking cubicle at work.
Yeah, I was driving my sister to the hospital, so I had to I had it was playing in the stereo like around my thing. So, but yeah, we also got a Hades port, which is cool.
Yeah,
That's
like
great.
if you have not played Hades, I cannot recommend a title more than fucking Hades. I'm not the biggest roguelike fan, but I love fucking Supergiant's titles. Like everything that they've done has been super fun to play. Infinite replayability all the way from Bastion on up. I fucking I spent a good 2.5 weeks of my time playing nothing but Hades. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we should this video we should talk about trailers that stood out to us and trailers that we like. So I think I'm gonna get the elephant out of the room right now. The Smash reveal. So it's Pyrrha and Mithra from Xenoblade 2, and I actually they look fun, bro. They look really good. I really don't see the backlash. I don't know why people are upset about it. It's another sword character. Who cares?
That's
Because
the
we
one.
honestly, I'm legitimately shocked people don't think we're gonna get another first party character because you already know we're gonna get a Pokemon. Like the last two is definitely gonna be like maybe like a third party and like a Pokemon. Like I'd be shocked if it was like another first party character that we
Oh
got for the
yeah.
last two. And but I'm legitimately curious why people didn't think we're not gonna get another Xenoblade character because Xenoblade has been making Nintendo money for a while now, and it's been rumored and leaked time and time again that we're gonna get someone from Xenoblade 2. People thought it was gonna be Rex, but I think
Rex
Pyrrha's
was
a great
like
choice.
he was just so generic. I I mean
Like,
Shulk was I love Xenoblade 1. I really do, but Shulk was literally the least interesting character in that fucking game. I'm sorry.
I'm
Uh
like, because I mean, makes sense for Pyrrha because another woman. We need more female characters in the game, and that makes a lot of sense because we only got one female character out of the season 2, and that was Min Min.
who was from a game that lasted all of like 9 months.
Yeah, I mean, it was popular, but I mean, I honestly, it just shows how some misogynistic Nintendo fans are because people did not like Min Min at all.
She's not the best handled either. That's my biggest complaint with her. But
I, I, I thought she was okay. Like I expected, like I honestly, I legitimately think the worst DLC we've gotten was Byleth, and not because I didn't like Byleth. Byleth was really fun. I think Byleth was the wrong place, wrong time. I think
yeah.
Byleth should have season two past character,
Yeah,
and I
that would have
think
made more sense.
it would have been well received. Like if I think for season one it should have been those four, and then either like Steve or Sephiroth should have ended off to end off the hype, and then it should have been like Byleth or like Min Min, Byleth, and then like
the
who else? And then no, like
either Steve or Sephiroth, whichever one didn't get added to season one, and then
yeah, and Mithra, because we only have two characters left. So I think that's what it should have been the placement for it. But
okay, but hear
honestly,
me out. Hear me out. The next third party character is Sora. Give me my cinnamon
uh,
roll.
Sora or Dante seems to be the highest level people want. Honestly, those two are looking like the two who are. I'd be shocked if it was their last two characters, but
Yeah, remember when they used to do this like gauge interest on popularity polls? Like
mm-hmm.
so like I remember a period in time where like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the fucking Dragon, and Sora were the top three.
Yeah, people haven't. Like
I
Dante.
guess they could rework the fucking skeletal frame for Ridley and make that into Spyro. Crash
They
would be the ground up, and
they
then
they
Sora.
they honestly all I really see at this point is just Sora and Dante,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like you know why people have hate for sword characters. Like I don't care, you know what I mean?
Well,
So
it's a
it's just like
balance thing to most people in their brain. Like there is an overwhelming majority of sword characters now versus melee characters, and
oh, great. Yeah.
so like the roster used to be technically balanced at one point in time on all of that. Like here are your brawlers, here are your fighters, here are your gunners. And that's where the me framework came into play.
I mean,
And
that's it, all of that.
now it's just like everyone is here. That is the fucking tagline. Everyone is here. We don't care about balance. We don't care about like what characters you like or don't like. We're doing this for ourselves and for the fans. It seems like that's the direction they're going. But I'm somebody that wants Sora, but I'm also like, ugh, it's another sword character. Okay, whatever.
Honestly,
Whereas Sora would be another fucking sword character.
I used to have that mindset, but I just don't care anymore. It's
It's
I
a
think it
party brawler. Have fun. Don't be a salty cunt.
like when it comes to that in particular, it's just like you have your you have your life, because people are gonna be bitching about it regardless. Even if we did
Oh
get
yeah.
Dante or people are not gonna like it. It is what it is. So I think Pyro is a great addition. I love their designs. I think they're cool. I'm a slut for those type of designs. So
Oh yeah.
I I'm happy for the Xenoblade niggas. I'm happy that they got their character. I can't wait to try her out. We'll probably. I think she releases March. I think.
I
So
think so.
so now now we only have two left, and this is the last season pass unless Nintendo's like, oh yay, Sakurai, while they're cracking a belt behind them, about that only having two seasons.
We're going to need more
We like
money.
gonna need more money. 'Cause for real, they're making a lot of money off this shit.
Oh yeah, they really are, and I love this. I have a love hate relationships with this newer term that's come out in the last couple generations with games as a service. And that's quite literally what Smash has turned into here with this title. Like we're constantly providing you with this live service title, and we're also providing you with the service of like constant content updates. Be it whether this person only cares about this one character and buys it as a single microtransaction, or buys it by the season. I have this really love hate relationship with it, and this started for me. I don't know about you, Thurman. Well, like in the middle of Overwatch's early life cycle, where it really got to the point where you saw the drive in your wallet of buying loot box after loot box to get every season's skins. But there was a point in time for me where I'm like, I'm spending way too much money trying to look pretty in this title,
Uh huh.
where it provides me with no with microtransactions in particular, like it's providing me with no fucking benefit. And then I saw it prey Overwatch jump to the Switch, where there's an arguably younger audience. And I'm like, oh, this is scummy. So I'm seeing that, but like my biggest like title in that genre, if you want to call that I really sit down and play regularly is Siege, and that's the perfect example of like how to do it right, and because you can literally earn everything in game while also like learning the meta, or at least it seemed like it before I dipped off again. But the big one for me now is like Smash. Like I don't really play it as much, and like Reg can fucking hop in the comments of this video, which I know he will, and be like, yeah, remember how you hadn't updated it for the entire season 2 patch? Because life had just kind of gotten in the fucking way for a while, like gaming and doing all this shit. I was sitting down in front of my computer more and playing it, and then I hop back on for like one night playing with Andrew, our buddy that we do JoJo with, and like I remember there was a hierarchy in my group, and there always is in those party brawlers, where it's just literally you can be good in your circle, and then once you bust out of that like circle itself, it's like, oh right, this friend is better than this friend, and this friend is the fucking god among men that you will never beat. That's fucking Andrew. I'm like, this is fun. And I hopped into fucking Soul Calibur, just talking here for a moment. And I'm like, right, this was my cup of tea in fighting games, was Soul Calibur. That's one title I would love to see come to the Switch again, because there was an era where Soul Calibur was on Nintendo platforms. And like not having a traditional fighter makes it exactly like what you said, Thurman. It really has become this JRPG machine, and this like first party, like obviously like consoles you buy for the first party and then you stay for the fun. Whereas like Nintendo will always have its Mario's, its Zeldas, its Star Foxes when they decide to fucking drag it out of the vault. It's F-Zeros whenever they decide to fucking do that again. It's Metroid's like, it's still coming. Metroid Prime is still coming. And now they have Bayonetta on lockdown, which has been, I think, there's an account on Twitter. I think it said 1,158 days it's been without news about Bayonetta 3. And that's what people were complaining about. Is like they had already announced all these titles way back when the Switch first came out. Like Shin Megami Tensei, fucking Bayonetta, Metroid Prime. There was a whole list. If I went back through like my Facebook memories around November when they first announced September or November when they first announced the Switch, I had like a whole rundown because that's when we all still regularly used Facebook. Just like all the fucking titles that got announced on the day that they brought out like this, revealed the name for the console and all this shit. And that's what Nintendo fans are salty about. And I give them credit that they're at least consistent. It's not like arguing with the manga community, like, but this arc was better than this arc, and this arc was better than this arc, but this one over here, this one was mid, really, and then every arc is just recency bias and recency bias. Nintendo fans are fucking consistent. Like, I want this title that was announced this many days ago. Where is information? Is it still coming out? You know, that's what I'll give them. And like, props to them, I guess, because you have better memory than I do. Because I completely fucking forgot every time a direct or a direct light or a showcase comes out. I had forgot those titles were even announced.
Yeah, it's funny because they're all you can see on Twitter is just like no Breath of Fire 2 news, Dota, Bayonetta 3. Like it's Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, and
Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
Breath of the Wild too. But it's just like Nintendo are giving you something to read that. That's what people don't realize. Skyward Sword HD is to hold you guys off until Breath of Fire 2.
Yeah.
Like you guys realize that?
Yeah, so here's the issue with Breath of the Wild 2 and the Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword is the most divisive fucking title in the Zelda franchise. People either loved it or they hated it. I hated it, not for the reasons that most do. I hated it because of like the latency issues with the Wii remote and everything, and it's purely my fault because I lived even when it came out in a very connected house where like I had a lot of Bluetooth connectivity, I had a lot of shit in there that caused interference with that, and that was the big thing with like at the E3 showcase. Remember when they were doing it? Like everybody had to like turn off their phones and shit, and because it was causing latency issues while they were demoing it. And that was the last time that they really did a traditional E3 was like that. That was what led them to like the directs and the treehouse events and all that shit. I lived in that kind of house back then when it first came out. So like that's why I hated it. I'm like this doesn't handle well. So being able to experience it for the first time really cuz I never really finished it. That's awesome to me. You know, it's basically a whole new game. I think I got to the first like major plot point which I don't even fucking remember because it was so long ago and I'm just like well, Breath of the Wild's here. Fucking Wind Waker HD, I played the hell out of. But those titles held me over more than Skyward Sword did. But a lot of people hated the story. A lot of people hated this or that or the other thing with it. And I'm just over here like, it's a Zelda game. It's a fucking Zelda game. Chill. um,
It's interesting to say the least. I honestly am happy for it because now we can. It's a good chance for people who couldn't play it. Like they said, it's a good chance for people who couldn't play it. They can play it now, and all this. So, me personally, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think remasters and HD,
mm-hmm.
remakes and all that are really, really good. I am a big fan of collections and all that. I think it's stupid to get
Yeah.
mad, So, it's interesting, but it's just like,
I
people.
do agree with the price point being bullshit though. I do there. Like that is a very Nintendo has this habit and I will always be one to call them out on it. I'll gladly fucking buy it for 9 millionth time, but I'll always be the one to call them out for it. It's like they have this habit of re-releasing fucking decades old titles for a price that isn't really worth it. So like the biggest one for me was the Mario All Stars collection. Like that those three games. Obviously, like being a retro collector, yes, I realize that it was cheaper to buy these literal ROMs. By the way, um, they were fucking ROMs put onto a Switch cartridge, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Uh, it was cheaper to buy that versus going out and finding a good copy of Mario 64, finding a good copy of Sunshine, and finding a good copy of Galaxy One. Yes, it was inherently cheaper to buy this. That doesn't mean we should accept Nintendo sitting down and fucking us constantly on price.
Yeah, their pricing for their shit's kind of bogus. I think $49.99 is a fair price for
Exactly.
Skyward.
See,
$60.
yeah. There was a meme that was floating around like after the direct came out, like the box for Skyward Sword is like here's a selection of a soundtrack, here's a fucking Wii remote with Wii Motion Plus built in, and here was the game that was like $49.99, and like the Joy Cons and the title itself sold separately because of course with it being a Zelda anniversary because it's always an anniversary for one of their big franchises that they only really inherently care about two of. um, uh, they're releasing a special set of Joy Cons for the Switch, and also in parentheses on the version I found, I know there's like probably 50 million versions of it floating around because that's how memes work. Free with drift because they're still getting class action lawsuits about Joy-Con drift. But
Yeah,
it's whatever. Like we're all suckers for Nintendo. We're going to buy it. They know it. They know they can violate us with a wine bottle.
yeah, it's true. And the direct, like I said, direct wasn't even that bad to be honest.
No.
As of someone who is a big fan of everything that they've been doing so far. Like, because Monster Hunter Rise was like that trailer was pretty good. Like
Oh yeah.
they gave us a good showcase. Like, and Splatoon 3, that might be my first Splatoon game I might play. So it's not like they didn't give a shit that we,
Exactly.
they people were just expecting like Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, but it's just like that's not like it's not just what Nintendo's all about, Like they have more
Well,
shit for. Because I
so
mean, think about it this way: like one of the biggest issues people are complaining about is that how Nintendo usually had no third-party support. Now they have third-party support.
and they don't
Complaining
want
about it.
third party support. They want first party support, Thurman. They are literally the angry child in the checkout lane wanting another action figure.
They
I
don't know what the fuck they want because literally the whole complaint when the Wii, even back when the Wii to the Wii U, was just like no third party support. We have no third party, and then now we're getting all this third party. Now what's the issue?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it comes down to, at least for me, like I'll get to like my highlights here in a minute. Um, what comes down to for me is like I've noticed this pattern with Nintendo fans. I'm coming up on 30 this year. I've noticed like since I've been in any capacity of a gaming fandoms come in these waves. They get accustomed to near the middle of a life cycle how a certain console is. And then anything that is not the same, they will bitch about. So let's take the GameCube, for example, here, since we're talking about Nintendo. It had massive support from every first, second, and third party. It was one of the most widely supported fucking consoles Nintendo had ever had. Then it went to the Wii, which had shovelware city because it was so easy for people to shit out a fucking motion control game for. You had 7 million versions of the same generic like club shooter or your Scott the Woz did a fucking phenomenal series about the shovelware that was on the Wii U or on the Wii. Um, and then you went to the Wii U, which was like rumored to be like this super fucking like supported console, and then everybody's like, "This is too hard to develop for. Fuck it, we're going to shift all of our focus to the Xbox One and the PS4." And now you've gotten back to like the Switch, where it's getting all this massive support again because it's easy to port and fucking develop for. And fans are going from like this no supported system where like begging and crawling for anything to now having everything handed to them and then everything from the last generation as well, because why the hell not make an extra $60 per title sold? They're just jaded because of that. But having gone through like all of those generations, and those were just the ones that I was actively like physically aware of, because obviously like me being hitting 30, like I don't remember a whole lot of the N64 era because I was mostly playing fucking PlayStation at that point. Um, and obviously like the SNES and the fucking NES, like sure some of my earliest memories are playing Mario with my dad, but that's because I have it captured on film and it's being like, yes, I'm sitting here in a gaming chair with my mom taking a picture of me in my dad's lap playing a fucking video game with him. And I'm like, oh right, the gaming's been ingrained in my fucking head since I was a child. But like just having witnessed those generations come to the Switch, and now obviously with the rumors of Switch Pro and blah 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 blah, the fact that they might be working on another console because fucking 4chan and gaming leaks and blah. That's a whole other fucking rabbit hole to go down with Red Web style. I'm not fucking doing that. Anyway, I having seen one of the arguably the best direct in almost a year, and watching people throw their fucking bottle at the wall like, it's not what I wanted. Mommy, more milky, please. Spoon feed me everything I've ever wanted. Just fucking grow up. You're getting a new
It,
Square tactical RPG, which looks amazing, but that's my
that shit looks
bias.
good. That shit looks so fucking good.
That's
I
my
do have
bias of like fucking being hugely into Octopath. So like it
because I mean,
being
like most
it,
of the shit we got, like it was definitely like my thing with directs is like it gives us information that like because most of those games people are gonna fucking buy,
oh
like
yeah.
it's not just about the first party. Yeah, the first party is nice. I would love to see a new Kirby game, but like the whole point is is the fact that we have it's not necessarily about like big reveals. That's not what a direct is about. It's about the games that are coming to the Switch, you know, that people want to see, people want to play, and it's not always just about oh shit, a fucking Bayonetta 3. It's like because like even like the smaller games that people are gonna fucking be hype about because
Oh yeah.
Square at this point that Square is just putting all their shit. Capcom and like all these other parties are relying more and more on the Switch. So I really like the trailers for the direct. I'm looking. I saw this Splatoon 2 trailer. It looked kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
So like the big ones for me, like obviously Splatoon. It looks great. It's Splatoon. You can't really go wrong with it. It's got its own formula that works now. I'm really the location is interesting from what I've seen. I'm definitely hyped to see more. Comes out next year. The other big one for me though, and Thurman, you might not agree with me here, but there, my my partner's been getting me into Danganronpa here, and I saw World's End Club, and then like Wario64 tweeted this before I actually caught this bit of the fucking because I was like I said I was watching this at work and grabbing the fucking trailers as they came out. What I missed was World's End Club, which is made by the creators of Danganronpa and Zero Escape, and it gives me a little bit of like the way I worded it because we were talking last night about it was it's giving me a nod of the world ends with you and a bit of Danganronpa.
I haven't seen the trailer for it because I was driving when that shit was getting dropped, so I have to look at it. But I've never played the Danganronpa series. I heard it's really popular.
It's insanely popular.
But I've never really bothered with it. I have to really look. I know it's like a visual novel game,
Yeah,
right?
it's a visual
Or
novel.
or
Uh,
JRPG.
it takes JRPG, mixes it with like Ace Attorney vibes for like the trials.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but yeah, like she introduced me to the first anime, and then obviously the second game didn't get an adaptation because it's one of the more violent ones. And then the third one is a prequel to the first one because Star Wars logic. And then like there's a complete fan service game that has zero subtlety whatsoever. But yeah, I'd highly recommend it. I think you'd like it. Uh, and then the other one that really captured me, and you and me being the JRPG guys, was the fucking Mana remake.
Yeah, Legend of Mana, bro. That shit looks clean too. By the way, she looks hella clean.
Oh, I'm just so glad this franchise is coming back over here. So they did a Trials of Mana like last year, and
Yeah, I copped that too.
I got it through Humble Bundle when it was cheap because I'm cheap when it comes to my games. When it comes to my games. Um, but yeah, that one looks amazing. Um, and then actually I can pick up the exact day I bought it because I bought it on PC. Um, Secret of Mana was yeah 2019, and then Trials of Mana the remake was like summer of last year. It was
They
like
really like their bro. They really like their Mana.
yeah, and did you ever play this one? Because this was one I played on Xbox way back when. I'm shocked to see it
Now,
on anything else.
I've never actually touched the Mana series,
No,
as I'm
like
going to call
Stubbs
it
the
now.
Zombie. Stubbs the Zombie is the one I'm referring to now. Um, that was one I played at my buddy's house, drunk off my ass as a senior on the original Xbox. Was Stubbs the Zombie. It is one of the dumbest titles I've ever played in my life, and I have played Leisure Suit Larry. So that will be interesting to see a Nintendo audience's reaction to that coming out. Um, because it's It's a very hard game to describe, but it is quite literally take the stupidity of destroy all humans and throw a zombie in there.
Yeah, it looked fun.
It's definitely fun. I don't think the Nintendo audience will adapt to it as well as like another audience like PC gamers. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Nintendo fans are bitches, but they've been learning to evolve somewhat with the games that they've been getting.
yeah,
But
that is true.
um,
The other
so
one that we really should touch on here, I feel like we would be remiss as fighting game fans to not mention the fact that all of the fucking Ninja Gaiden titles or remake titles are coming out on the
yeah, I
Switch.
see a lot of people happy about that. Mm-mm,
So you
that shit's
think
crazy.
Joy-Con drift is bad? How about replacing your Joy-Cons when you rage quit on these games?
Oh yeah, bro. That shit's gonna be hard for people. We also got Capcom's fucking collection. That's cool.
That's
A new
cool.
Goblins game. Oh, I'm hyped about that. I fucking love Ghosts and Goblins. I remember playing that shit during my. I had the Capcom Classic Reloaded collection.
Oh
Game is
yeah.
hard as fun. What else? I'm trying to think about the trailers that stood out to me. Most of the Square Enix shit. I'm really happy about that. I'm definitely gonna cop most of the Square Enix shit. Um,
Yeah, so like Square seems to be doubling down like hardcore on the fucking Switch, which
yeah.
begs me to argue as the Kingdom Hearts fan here, why the fuck are you putting the entire franchise on the Epic Game Store and can't port 15-year-old games to the fucking Switch?
They're probably gonna they're probably gonna take a while for them to do that.
I,
Um,
you would think that mapping buttons that don't exist would be harder than mapping buttons that do exist, though. Like,
yeah, I
I,
was actually hoping for more info on The World Ends with You too.
yeah,
Um,
that's one that really confused me that we weren't getting. It's obviously in development, and it's supposed to come out in conjunction with the anime or sometime after the anime ends. I'm guessing.
oh, I have to beat. I'm playing the first game. I have to beat the first game.
I
'Cause
started replaying the first game around the time the anime
yeah, I
got
need to beat
announced.
it. I only played it was another friend's DS. The game was pretty fun, but
Yeah, like that game was magnificent, and then obviously, again, me being a Kingdom Hearts fan, like Dream Drop Distance reintroduced me to the characters, and then I'm like, well, that's shit. I need to finish this game that I've never actually finished, and then finding a fucking DS copy for under $100 was like impossible. So I'm like, oh, Switch port, got it. I know the Switch port obviously isn't the best way to play the games. Nintendo elitists sue me. Um, I'm not paying $100 for a fucking DS game. I have my limits.
yeah. I don't know for a DS game that's really funny, but yeah, man. I think final thoughts here because I honestly it was a very great direct. I can't wait for the other one. I miss the old school directs.
Mm-hmm.
Def- Definitely something I miss a lot. I don't think all the hate that people that Nintendo getting for the fucking dumb shit, uh, I think it was great. I think we got more than enough info for shit that we got. It was very, very, very. I'm very, very happy with it, and I'm really excited for the stuff that's coming out. The next direct, because I mean, this is better than like another fucking main direct or like a third party direct, huh? Because we know a lot of games are coming out for the Switch. It's just we have to wait and see, And I think they did a good time to do a direct around this time because 2021, still fresh and ripe in people's minds, and
So,
getting people ready for the year for Nintendo games is a most important thing. But I think that's peace for me. I think I said everything.
like for me, like I'm glad we're. I know we're not going to get a lot of directs like this in the current world state. Like production schedules are not on track at all. That's been the biggest thing for me is like seeing people arguing up and down like this game should have been out, but nobody here knows what goes on behind the scenes in a game studio. I have sat down and tried to develop my own game, create my own game in fucking college, okay? I have immense respect for people that have the forethought to be able to sit down, script, write out, dub, fucking subtitle for other languages, throw a goddamn game together with 9 billion lines of fucking code. I have so much respect for people like this. What I don't have respect for are the people on social media being like, this game is garbage. Look at the bug here. Look at my character T-posing in the couch. Yes, I'm talking about Cyberpunk here. Uh, I do not respect the fucking armchair CEOs of gaming companies, armchair game developers. These people are the scum of the gaming community. That being said, I am also a fan of gaming. I will always be like, I wish this game was out. I would love to see anything on this be like, hey, we're still making this. Because I would rather have a studio come out and say, yes, we are still developing this, than leave it up to speculation. Because that's when you have the people on your deeper websites that like to leak your shit. And then that leads to a lot more of what we call speculation videos, where people dive down the 4chan posts of like, here is the development hell that has been this title. So like that there, especially in the current state of affairs, I appreciate studios like Ubisoft and fucking CD Projekt Red that had the wherewithal to be like, no, we're pushing the development of said title back. I'm talking about Far Cry 6 and obviously like the innumerable delays of Cyberpunk. Yes, I was salty, but I also would rather have seen what came out of Cyberpunk versus what would have came out 7-8 months before it was released. If you think the game was buggy when it came out, what if you would have rushed the development cycle more? You know? So I realize like Nintendo's not going to have a lot more of these like directs of this style until obviously the world is ready to sit down and reset to a point where we can all go back into our offices. We can sit down and be like, hey, let's get back to working on this, comfortably, here inside the studio versus like trying to. I don't even know how. I don't even want to begin to speculate how. Like, I've got fucking. There's a gif from Achievement Hunter where like all the trigonometry symbols were popping up in front of Jeremy's face. That's what's happening to my face right now. Trying to figure out how the hell you're developing a game remotely, okay? like, like that there just boggles my mind that people are able to do something so magical at a distance. So massive props to the studios that are trying to fucking make things work. I remember seeing an article, Thurman. I don't know if I sent it in the Brozone chat. About Bayonetta 3, and it was just like the director saying like, don't expect any news for a while now. Like that there was the like, okay, they're still working on it, but did it reset or did is it just COVID related? It's harder to develop a fucking game.
Probably COVID related, to be honest.
Yeah.
Probably not gonna see much until vaccines start coming out and everything.
Yeah.
Towards the end of this year, we'll probably start seeing more,
more concrete. Like, this is the progress we've made. Style of fucking reveals, and probably around the holiday season is where we'll see the bulk of like Nintendo and Square and all of their fucking stuff, and a lot of like. Obviously, they're doing a virtual E3 this year. They announced, so. That's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds versus what happened last year where like each studio or every major player in the gaming industry had their own like showcase.
Yeah.
So,
Right,
I guess we'll do an E3 speculation video in July. We might do some more like little gaming shit here. Obviously, this isn't our normal content, but we're all gaming fans. We love talking and shooting the shit about this. That's why Red's not here, because he's a big sourpuss and doesn't like gaming. Until next time, guys. We love you. Peace.
Peace.